Hello, I'm here with my cohort classmate, Miss Angelique Brown. Uh, Miss Brown, tonight I will be discussing e-research with you and then showing briefly how to conduct e-research. So, what is e-research? E-research is the term applied to the use of advanced information and communication technologies to practice research. So basically, originally, we would conduct research by either sending out paper surveys in the mail, or, for example, when I was in school, uh, in college, for example, I could remember you could look in the campus newspaper and there would be different research experiments listed. And then if there was one that you were interested in, you would walk on over to the psychology building, and in the psychology building, the graduate students will be conducting their research. I remember one that I took was on comic books. And so they asked us to read a comic book, and they hooked up all these electrodes and diodes to us. And we read the comic book, and I believe they were trying to analyze the stimuli or the response in the brain when reading a comic book to various students. So as you can imagine, that's a very time consuming way to research, and not all students wanted to participate in that. So you had to find students willing to participate in the research. So one of the advantages of e-research is that you can conduct similar research or survey research just by sending out your survey links to participants across the internet. And so that also is a strength of e-research, in that you are able to reach different segments of the population, or different uh, demographic people all over the world, by simply creating a survey and sending it out to them. And so I would say that the best research that's able to be conducted in this way is some type of survey. Survey research lends itself best to e-research. And so the strengths of it, as I mentioned before, are you are able to reach large segments of the population throughout the world where you may or may not be located. And then also the cost. E-research is relatively inexpensive to produce versus traditional methods of research. Sending out surveys throughout the mail would cost a small fortune nowadays. Some of the challenges to e-research are in regard to uh, samples, and making sure that you are controlling the environment where the research is being done. So in other words, sending out a sample survey, a person could take that survey anywhere. And so you're not exactly able to control the setting for the research. Also, confidentiality. When taking the research, e-research, confidentiality can be a bit of a question. And so then finally, we also want to look at uh, unbiasedness. So sometimes sending out e-research, we could get back biased results in our survey. So we want to make sure that we are aware of all of those when we are conducting our e-research. So now I just want to go through how to do an e-research project, or e-research. So I'm going to share my screen with you.
Okay.
And so this is just an example of an e-research tool. If you can see my screen, please let me know.
I can see your screen.
Okay, great. So this is an e-research tool I found called SurveyMonkey. And so it's very easy. You just make an account on SurveyMonkey, and then you would build your survey. I'm going to save time, I'm just going to use a template. So I'm going to click on the template, and I'm just going to scroll down here to academic research here. And here is a survey that was created to look at K-12 distance learning. And so the
Okay.
researchers here want to find out about K-12 distance learning that has been going on through the pandemic. So the first question is, what type of internet access do you have at home? Let's just say broadband. Then we go to the next question. Do you have a limited amount of data allowed for your internet access? Yes. Um, are all of the adults in the house currently working? Then the person would say, yes, the adults are working, or no, they're not working, or I don't know. Are you currently working at home? Yes. Are any of the adults in your household a medical professional or first responder? No. How comfortable would you be in picking up books, supplies, or equipment for your children to use at home for distance learning or independent study? Very comfortable. If the school has to distribute books, supplies, or equipment for children to use at home for distance learning or independent study, which of the following would you prefer? Uh, let's say have the equipment shipped and then done. So just as I completed that survey, that was already created using a template, you can create your own survey. And then, for example, we can see the results from this survey. SurveyMonkey would take the results from the survey that I created myself on whichever topic it was that I was trying to research. And you can see here, for example, most people in the template survey have broadband internet. Uh, they would have a limited amount. 58% have a limited amount. uh, uh, 42% have a limited amount. 58% do not. And then is there someone else there? 54% no. 46% yes, and so on and so forth. So this would actually tabulate your data from the survey, and then you could begin to use this in your research. There's one other method of research that I want to show also that I came across in my study of this topic, and that is, if I can share my screen with you again, uh,
Uh-huh.
there are also paid research. So when I was looking through and trying to find out the methods for e-research, I always see that there are online. I also found that there are online paid surveys that you can have people across the world take. So you sign up for this, and then this company will pay people to take your survey. And so that is my brief overview of e-research. Uh, Let me end my screen share. If I can figure out how to end it.
It's ended.
Okay.
I think it's ended.
All right, great. Are there any questions that you have?
Um, when doing this type of research, what do you do with the data?
Once you have the data compiled, then you would go through it in the normal method that we would do for a regular pencil and paper survey. So
Okay.
you would begin to look for your themes, and if you have your themes, then you go through there and you categorize and you group, just the same way that we've been doing our research methods all along through this semester as we practice the different ones. You would take that data then and you would begin to go through the process in the same way. I think the only difference is that instead of, for example, surveying people face to face, or taking the time to go through interviews, recorded interviews, such as the one that we
Mm-hmm.
did
Mm-hmm.
uh, on the Congresswomen. In this method of e-research, you actually send out your questions for your research through the internet to whichever subjects you want to answer the question. Then once you've done that, the for example, SurveyMonkey collects that data, and then you go through the data using our data dissemination methods that we've learned about in this class.
Okay.
Excellent question.
I
All
don't
right.
have any more questions.
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Brown. I'm going to stop the share now.
Okay.
Uh,
And maybe stop the recording so I can save
yes.
it on my device.